As car enthusiasts, we'd probably all like to think that our cars are perfect, me included, but to be honest, we'd probably all also agree that they're not. I've had this car for a while now, a year and a half, and I have pretty much sang its praises for that entirety. I've also reviewed it pretty fairly, to be fair, given its pros and a few cons, and I've also done many random things in the car. But over that time, I've got to know my Golf very well. So I thought I'd give you a bit of an updated review and give my 5 top worst problems with my Mark IV 1.6 litre match specification Golf from 2003. Now, my first issue I have talked on a bit before, so I won't bore you with the details all over again completely, but it is that the car is outdated. Now, let me be clear, this is expected. I wasn't expecting a sci-fi car when I bought it. It is 19 years old, so that's completely okay, but you do have to make some sacrifices because it isn't completely up to date with other technology. So for starters, it obviously doesn't have an aux, it doesn't have anywhere to charge your phone particularly. You've got your cigarette lighter, but as we know, those are not incredible. Then of course there's no Bluetooth or hands-free or anything like that. And to be fair, this isn't a huge issue because you can fix it, and I have to a point with the lovely dongle one can buy at Halfords and other places as well, and this allows you to play your music in the car, connect your phone and stuff, but it doesn't sound great because the way it works is it transmits the signal from your phone over the radio, then the car's radio picks it up, and if you have your music up particularly loud, it does sound a bit fuzzy, like a and in certain places, if you go for like a long drive, there might be a radio station broadcasting on that frequency, and so you will be hearing two things at once. But to be fair, I could buy a new radio, that would fix the problem, but at least for me personally, I quite like keeping the original. I just like it, it feels like it's part of the car, so I can't really complain, and I won't. Now, my second problem that's grouped in with the first problem, because again, I have mentioned this previously, is storage. Now, generally, the storage in this car, especially for a first car, is great. Loads of room in here, loads of room down there, loads of room down here, loads of room in there, loads of room in here, and loads of room in there. However, when you come in the back here as a passenger or an intruder, you will find that suddenly space is limited. Now, not for yourself, you will still fit in here, especially if you are a 6-foot Viking, as we have mentioned before, but the space for your things isn't so great because there isn't really any of it. There's no pockets back here on the backs of seats. I did think about getting like a Velcro one and sticking it to it, but I just don't care about my passengers, I suppose. There's also no side pockets, so you can't put anything there. And then to finish it off, there's also no cup holders in the back, but there aren't. Believe me, please don't comment saying there are some. We'll get onto that later. And by later, I mean now. But before I tell you my gripe with the cup holders, I must tell you my gripe with you. On my first review video, I got so many comments telling me that there are cup holders in the place where I said there weren't. Now, there aren't. I was not lying. Not all Golfs come with the cup holders. Now, I put in the ones here at the front, but they didn't come in originally. I had to take the original panel off and replace it with that one, but I didn't do the same in the back, so there aren't any cup holders. I promise you, please trust me, people. It is my car. I have pressed it properly, I promise. Anyway, my gripe with the cup holders is, well, one, they didn't come with any, but that, then they're not the most sturdy for drinks. Things can fall out of this, as you can see, to be fair. And also, like I just mentioned, there are none in the back. So as much as I don't have that many passengers that sit here that often, it's not great for them if we were doing a long journey because they literally don't have anywhere to put, well, anything, but also their water. So it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. Now, my next issue is one I should have known about. It's not the most fun car to drive. Now, I didn't admit this for a while. I was trying to kid myself that the Golf is incredible to drive. It's a wonderful, fun car. But it's maybe not. It's not unfun to drive, but it is definitely a sensible car. And I don't actually have an issue with this, but like I said, I did try and pretend, I disagreed with everyone. The Golf's really fun to drive. What are you talking about? But that may have not been completely 100% true. It's not up there with like the Fiesta or the Clio or any of the other fun hatchbacks you can buy as a first car. So I'm going to put that in there as a problem, but to be fair, it's not really actually a problem. It's simply a fact of life that you must get used to. The Golf is not as fun to drive as perhaps it could be, but that's okay. Yeah. On to my third problem now, and this one is pretty normal for a car of this age. It is the aircon. I have noticed relatively recently, as it became summer and quite hot, that the aircon doesn't work great. It does send out some air that's kind of vaguely cold, but it's not ice cold, and it doesn't change the temperature of the whole car and make it go down, so it doesn't fully do its job. It's alright, it keeps you a bit cool, but you generally, if I'm not on the motorway, I will just have the windows down. And the other thing is that I didn't necessarily notice this that last summer, so I wonder if maybe since then there's been like a leak or something. I should probably check that, to be fair, or just last summer I just didn't use the aircon, I don't know. But not the biggest issue in the world, but you know, not ideal. Now, the biggest issue that I've had, quite specific to my car, is the throttle, or something to do with the throttle. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but basically it started doing this thing where sometimes I'd turn the car on, it would be happy and ready to go, and other times it would be sad and unready to go and would give me not very much power. And then the worst thing it would do is suddenly it would go into like limp home mode, and it could do this while I was driving. So after filming my last video, the Brooklands one, I was driving back from London, which is like a 3-hour drive, and I just knew, because it started doing it before, that at any random moment it could lose all power and I could go boom and slow down. So I had to be quite careful coming back on the fast roads. But anyway, that was a really big issue for a while. Couldn't work it out, my mechanics weren't sure. But as of recently, in fact yesterday from filming this, I have had a new throttle body put in, which they think hopefully will fix the issue. In fact, I have the old one, which is quite cool. Little butterfly valve there, and this is in theory slightly faulty, although we're not entirely sure why. So this has been a big issue for a while, and it also brings up the other issue of expenses, which just is any car a blanket statement. And I suppose what I'm saying with this, because this is a very weird specific issue we haven't really seen before, is that your car's gonna probably get something wrong with it at some point, and it's probably gonna cost you a bit of money, and there's kind of not loads you can do about that other than get really lucky and obviously pick well in the first place. So it's not like probably going to affect anyone else, but for me this is the biggest issue I have had with my car, and hence it had to make the list. Now my final issue is a bit of a bonus problem, because up to yesterday it was a problem and the mechanics managed to fix it, but it was basically engine lights, which is typical Golf, to be fair. But there was like 3 engine lights and it would beep twice after turning it on every time I turned it on, and it just wasn't happy. Even after my main mechanics had fixed everything, scanned the car and fixed every code until nothing came up, I would still get 3 engine lights on all the time, which wasn't like a big issue, but because of the beeping, it is a bit of an alarming sound. And every time I started up my car and started driving, with anyone in it who didn't know about the beep would be like, what was that? And I'd be like, don't worry about it, it's fine, it's fine. And then it would do it again, and I'd be like, it's fine, that's also normal. And then they'd sort of jump out and run away from me.
What was that?
It's nothing, don't worry, it's fine, nothing. That was nothing as well, it's fine, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that, that happens too. But other than that, it's okay, because it doesn't actually do anything, it just sort of moans. But like I said, it has now been fixed, so for now, that problem is not a problem, so I'm happy. And that, I think, will be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. A slightly different and shorter one today, and I might, if you like this, do a version about the pros of the car, which I do talk about a lot, but there are definitely many that I've found in my time owning this car over many other cars I could have picked for my first. So thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Have a wonderful day. Feel free to like and subscribe and stuff like that. And I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.